Hello everyone, this is Running on Empty Food Review. Well, hello ladies, gentlemen, and everyone watching. Welcome one and all to this newest edition of the Running on Empty Food Review series. I'm your host, the Report of the Week. Thanks for checking in. I don't know if the intro got cut off by a second. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but I was cutting it close, and that's because I'm such a risk taker. I'm such a daredevil. You know that I'm trying to find those new heights just to go all out. I think I found it. I think I really did. In terms of risk versus reward, or lack thereof, let's see. This is one of those items that there's a lot of attention over. There's a lot of, people are talking about it. And it's going to be one of these reviews where I don't know. I really don't know. I try not to judge a book by its cover, granted. When I do these reviews, of course, I see all sorts of different types of items. But I took one look at it, and I mean, it's just going to be what it is. What more can I tell you? It's just, I don't know. I really don't know. Little Caesars, if you remember a few months ago, they released something called the Crazy Calzone. And it was this abomination that people either loved or they hated. Now, the reason why I call it an abomination is because it didn't look like it belonged in this world. It really didn't. It looked like some sort of creature. And it looked like... It just wasn't... I thought it was so over the top, so overwhelming. I thought it was gross, and I didn't like it. It creeped me out in a way, to tell you the truth. But the impressions from the viewing audience and those who actually did go out and get the item were mixed. It was about a 50-50 split. There was about half of the viewing audience that felt the exact same way that I did about it and thought, yeah, this is just too much. It's kind of gross and excessive, etc. But other people thought it was the best thing that they've ever had. And I understand it. People, they consume things differently. They like different styles of the food, and some people, I think, like it. The greasier and messier that it is, the better. I'm not one of those people, but who am I to judge? I know that some people are fans of it, and taking one look at this item, before we even try it, I'm just going to tell it to you right now, it's going to fall along those exact same lines. If you liked the Crazy Calzone, you're probably going to like this. If you didn't, I don't see how. But I'm making assumptions here, but I'm just saying that's what this is screaming at me, essentially. So I think you could obviously infer, since we were just talking about this item, it would be kind of weird if now all of a sudden I said, I just wasted 3 minutes talking about a previous item, and they're actually just releasing a burger or something totally unrelated, but indeed they aren't. The Crazy Calzone is back with a modification. In promotion for a new Batman movie, Little Caesars has released the Batman Calzone. And it's essentially like a half-folded Crazy Calzone. So you understand that the Crazy Calzone, it was like a pizza and a calzone put into one. This one has, and you're going to see it in a minute, it's got two ends that are folded like the calzone, two ends here that are just like pizza, and it's essentially like a bat shape, like a bat wing shape. Or it could be like a giant ninja star, whichever one you'd like to go with. But again, it's got that calzone crust. On the crust is garlic sauce, parmesan. Inside is white garlic sauce, julienned pepperoni. And the rest of it is like a regular pizza, complete with cheese, pepperoni, their marinara sauce blend, etc. And it is available at the price of $8. Comes in this box. At first, people were saying, they weren't sure what all of this stuff meant, and they weren't sure if this was supposed to just be for bats or all of that, but it's for Batman. What does this say? Little Caesars, the Batman movie, in theaters 2022. And dig into the world of Little Caesars and the Batman. Scan the code now. So I guess you could scan away. There I am with the box. And take a look inside, and I think you're going to understand everything that I just said. You see that, and I think people are either going to say, wow, that looks delicious, or you're going to say, wow, that looks kind of overwhelming. And I'm kind of teetering on the overwhelming side of things, but who am I to judge? See, that's the calzone. There's the crust, complete with calzone seepage, as expected. But you can see that the calzone is there's 2 of them instead of 4, and you have the traditional crust everywhere else. Let's get a thumbnail right here. I'm not sure if they cut the thing or not. Very, very greasy, very oily, and we're just going to find out. We're going to see what it tastes like. And that's all that I can tell you. I'll take one more thumbnail and then that'll be it. Like that. It also comes with some sauce, at least, for the dipping. Did they cut this? No, they didn't. They didn't even cut it. Are they supposed to? They didn't say. Well, either way, let's just cut ourselves a piece then. Yeah, they didn't cut it. So, I'm just letting you know right now that it's... This one didn't come to me cut. And I actually brought a knife because I was going to try to do a cross-section of the crust anyway. But now, I figure, what the heck, let's just cut my own slice, right? So, I'm not sure if this is something that's just for my case or not, but I want you to be aware of that yours might show up like this, and there's going to be no cut in it, and you're just going to have to make your own slice. So be wary of that. It's just something that you need to take into account. Go from there. I think this is good, though, that we cut it, because this is going to be a full cross-section. So see, there's the crust. There's the pizza. If you want to talk about something that's absolutely jam-packed with grease, look no further. See, the problem that I have, or I had the last time, is that it was just excessive. But let's find out. Let's see what it tastes like. So it's the Batman Calzony from Little Caesars. I'm just getting the top off the sauce right here. Let's try it out. It's going in. First we'll try out the pizza, then we'll try out the crust, and I'll give an assessment. All right, here goes. You can see the cheese to crust, or base ratio, on the pizza. Very high. And now, we'll try out the calzone itself. And try one more bite. We'll dip it in this sauce here. So you remember that thing that I was saying earlier in the review, that it's going to come down to a split, and it's going to be like a 50-50 split. It's exactly that. If you want to leave the video right now, after I say this, do it. I'll save you some time. If you liked the crazy calzone, you'll like this. And if you didn't, you won't like this. And there's the review. So as for me, some of the things that I'm not a big fan of, I think others will see as a good thing. And that needs to be mentioned. That's why when I do these reviews, I try to encompass everything, and I try to look at it from different angles and different viewpoints, etc. Obviously, as you could see, there's a lot on this item. And I mean, that could be a good thing these days. You obviously see so often that, you get less and less, you pay more and more. This, on the other hand, you could obviously see it's absolutely loaded with stuff. You could see all the cheese on it. You could see how much cheese there was to the base, that ratio. So when you bite into the pizza part of it itself, you can see how cheesy it is. Already, first thing that I got was that mouthful of the cheese. The greasiness of the pepperoni, coupled with all of the oil from the cheese already piled thereon, so much so that the pizza sauce that's on the calzone doesn't really do much to negate the flavor. A lot of the time, the sauce that Little Caesars uses is very, very robust and flavorful and powerful, I may add, and it cuts through all of the grease and oiliness that's usually on their items. This, on the other hand, it's just so much that the sauce has little effect. But there's so much in terms of toppings. Obviously, then as we enter the crust, the calzone crust, you could see all of the julienned pepperoni in there, as well as the cheese and the white garlic sauce. But again, the problem that I have, and I feel like I'm repeating the last review, but I mean, again, it kind of is like the last thing that I tried, in terms of the calzone, that is, you could see how much of everything that there is. To me, it gets overwhelming. It's just too much. It's just too much. Too much oil, too much grease, too much cheese, too much garlic, so much fattiness, and it's just to that point where it's just, you're at your limit, and then some. And it's just too much for me. Me personally, I just like getting their extra most bestest pizza if I go to Little Caesars, and that's it. This is just too much for me. It gets so much to the point where you bite in and all you taste is just so much salt, so much grease, so much oil, and then you get this weird consistency of the white sauce in the crust, where it's like a fluid, but it's not, and it's just kind of weird. It's like this not rubbery, but almost like gummy type of mass in between a solid and a liquid, and it could certainly flow like a liquid, but you could still chew it. It's just like this weird consistency to it, and that fills your mouth, and it's just so much garlic. And I think you understand what I'm trying to say, is that it's so much of everything. It's overwhelming to me. It's just way too much. It's way too messy. It's overwhelming. That's all that I could tell you. Some people, though, are going to love this thing. And you get it. If you looked at this and you thought, man, this looks delicious, you're probably going to like it. We all have our limit. We all have where we draw the line and we just say, yeah, this is just too much. It's just so overwhelming. This is past my limit. It's just to the point where, yeah, I can't do this anymore. But for some of you, I think this is going to be more than fine. If you have a high tolerance, and you don't mind the garlic and the fat and all that stuff, you might find this enjoyable. It's just going to be really, really flavorful, and one thing you're going to need to take into account is the marinara sauce. I mean, you're going to have to dip that crust in there just to help kind of outweigh everything else. Just that robust tomato blend is going to be your lifesaver in terms of really moderating everything out. But for those of you who maybe just like a regular pizza, yeah, this is just going to be overwhelming. So, factoring that in, it's as they said that it was. No false advertising here at all. So they did good in that regard. And what criticisms I have are just toward the item itself and my own personal preferences in terms of food, not toward Little Caesars. As a company, look, they got this promotion. it's exactly what they said it was going to be. I knew what this was probably going to be like going in, and I knew that your mileage may vary. So, the big takeaway from this, it tastes as it's supposed to. It's really greasy, really oily, really garlicky. Those are the three things you gotta bear in mind. Really chewy, just extremely, extremely rich in those aforementioned flavors, and it depends on your tolerance. If you can take a lot of it and this looks interesting to you, go out and get it. Just use the sauce, make sure to take advantage of that. If not, I would pass on this, just like how I am. It's just too much. It's not something I would get again. If I go to Little Caesars, I just get a pizza, and that's it for me. So, therefore, out of 10, problem is that part of me would just give this a... I didn't particularly enjoy this, but I know that some people will, and it's just an individual thing. So out of 10, I'm going to give the Little Caesars Batman Calzone a 5.8 out of 10, just because, again, if there's an item that it exceeds one's tolerance and it's so just much of everything, I know I'm not the only person that has this problem, so it's not necessarily the perfect item. If it kind of has that effect on some people, it should be an item that people generally would find enjoyable, not just a small subset of the population. Hence the rating. But based off of your own tolerance, take a look at it, understand the assessment, and then proceed therefrom. Price, again, is $8 for it, which, again, is a solid deal. Little Caesars, economical. But yeah, I just wasn't a big fan of this one, and I hope you could see why. That's all that I have for you. Thank you for watching. I'm your host, The Report of the Week. Until next time.